In this video I'm going to show you how to repair a hole in the wall. You can pick up pieces slightly bigger than this from the hardware store for $8 or $9. We're going to need to figure out what size patch to make. So we'll go 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. Step one is to cut a patch the size you're going to need. So we'll cut the patch first. So for cutting drywall, all you need to do is scribe the paper on one side and snap it. I do this on a backing board so that if I accidentally cut through, it doesn't damage my knife. So I've scored the paper just there, you flip it over, tap it, and then cut along that edge there. This is the front, this is the side you're going to see, that's the back of the patch. So on the front, just cut these pieces of paper off here, just the very edge of the paper, and that gets rid of any potential high point. Alternatively, you can just use like the butt of your knife there and run it along the edge, like that, and it just rounds off that edge a little bit. Sit your new patch over top and trace it. My patch isn't perfectly square, so I'm just going to put a little mark there to show me which was the top. Now what we do is we cut the drywall out. You don't have to be super fussy, but just make sure that you've got no big chunks in the back around here. Cut that edge of paper off. Just going to run the butt of the knife around that edge there, make sure it's pushed in, because we don't want anything sitting proud of that patch. So we can either use bits of timber, some soft timber like pine, or you can just cut an extra piece of your plasterboard. What we're going to do is place that in the back to create a backing for our patch to sit on. What we need to do is put some glue on this. So I'm just using some construction adhesive. Use as much as you like, don't be fussy. Now I've put a screw just in here so that I can hold it. Okay, pop that in place, give it a wiggle. I'm going to pop a couple of screws in here just to hold it. These screws can come out later once your glue's set. I'm going to take out that middle screw. So this patch now gets put on our backing there. So just a thin layer of glue on this one. The theory is we don't actually want it sitting proud of the main wall. We actually want it to sort of be flush or just inside it. So I'll pop that on, just to pull it back really nice and flat there. This glue will set in strong bond after 2 to 4 days. Let's give it 20 minutes. Depending on the size of your patch, this one is quite small. We could possibly get away with just using one of those little pre-mixed tubs. It says it doesn't want to fill gaps of greater than 3 millimeters. Now we've actually got a few slightly bigger gaps in there. The alternative is to make up some of this base coat. Ruby, she's going to help mix this up. So a little bit of water.
Was it the same that we made the other day?
Yeah, same stuff. Alright, can you mix that up? I've probably made way too much for a patch, but that's okay. Nice and slow on the drill. This coat is just a rough coat, right? The glue's set, we can take the screws out. Where those screws were, the paper might be a bit roughed up, so just use something pointed like the back of that craft knife and just push the paper in so it sits lower than the wall. Just so we don't have any high points. You don't have to be fussy, just make sure you've filled in the holes and you know, just wing it, you'll figure it out. So what I'm doing is just pushing it into all the holes there to start with. You can put heaps on, it doesn't matter. Sorry guys, just as I started to do that demo, a plane came through. So the gaps all around the patch and the 3 screw holes have all got heaps of fill on them, right? So now we can, with a little bit of pressure, I did a bit much, you can see now the patch through there. So what we're going to do is go around the patch with our pressure on the outside, on the wall side. If you start troweling and you've got too much weight on your knife and you start seeing the patch again underneath, put some more filler on it, lightly trowel it off. A few little bumps and ridges, it doesn't matter. Now that's pretty good. This first layer of filler has probably dried enough for us to give it a sand, so I've just got some 120 grit. All we're going to do on this is knock back the high parts and then we'll give it a second coat of filler. There's guys out there that are really good at this stuff. Me, not at all. But I'll give it a go, right? I'm slower than the pros. And the job is pretty rough. But you know, where the pros can probably do this in 1 or 2 coats, I might do 3 or 4. But that's right. So about like that, guys, is what you want. So that's 2 coats. The first coat sort of filled in the majority of the gaps. It was a little bit lumpy and bumpy at the end of it. We've just knocked that back with some 120 grit sandpaper. Now the second coat, we've made it a little bit thinner, a bit runnier, and it's sort of just glided over the top, filled in any of those discrepancies. It still needs a little bit of this kind of action around the outside just to clean it up a bit, but it's going to sand up really nice and flat, ready for primer at the end of it. That looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. I reckon that's dry enough. It's a little bit darker still in the middle, but on the surface it's quite hard. So for this one, I've just gone a 240 grit sandpaper, because really all I want to do is smooth it off now. So I'm using a sanding block. You can use a block of wood or one of these little foam things, rather than using your hand, because you get finger indents when you're sanding. And that feels pretty good. There's no high parts, there's no low parts that I can feel. The next thing you need to do, just give that a bit of a wipe down. Don't use water because it's going to give that filler a hard time. It'll probably try and wipe the filler out. Just a bit of a wipe down and then you're ready for priming and painting. Any of this kind of filling compound, you need to prime over top of it before you paint because it's so porous. And then you'll be ready for your top coat. If you've got a hole in the wall at home, give this style of repair a go. It's really easy. Follow those 5 easy steps. You'll end up with a nice, flat, smooth patch. You'll never see it once you've painted it. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Alright, thanks for watching. See ya.